Hi, everyone. I'm so grateful you're spending this Sunday afternoon with us. And before I read, I have a quick request. Please raise your hand if you are or know someone that has mental health challenges. So I can't quite see because I have my Word document, but I was thinking there's a decent amount of raised hands. And that's a big part of why I wrote A Drop in the Ocean. Even if you've never seen a therapist, you have mental health because you have a mind. And while everyone's mental health is different, stigma is universal. I hope sharing about my time in psych treatment can encourage a dialogue of nuance and compassion. I'm going to be reading two excerpts from A Drop in the Ocean, and this first excerpt is from the beginning of the book, during the main character Mira's first day on Ward 2, where everything is high security. So I always jump after I go to the bathroom. Out in public, that's 9 times, and I can't touch anything, which is super hard when you're in a tiny stall. At what used to be home, or at whatever psych facility I'm living at, those 9 times become 21, plus 9 reps of the 21st jump, because 21 doesn't feel right, unless I count it like this. 21, 21, 21. 21, 21, 21. 21, 21, 21. Yeah, I know I'm weird. Now everyone else does too. The staff have read my chart. They know my compulsions. But the kids have no clue until they hear my sneakers slamming down on the painted cement. By jump 7, Dinah and Sweets are pounding on the door, wondering if I'm okay. I'm fine, I yell from the other side. Good, then can you stop now? Sweets asks. It's really annoying. I can't. I'm only on jump 15. Soon, Dinah yells. For fuck's sake. By the time I'm done, somebody has the stereo cranked up, playing Akon. I wait for one full song before cracking open the door. Good. The hallway is clear. My heart pounds harder against my ribcage than the bass vibrating through the walls as I dash to my room. At dinner time, I come out of hiding. The hairs on my arms and the back of my neck prick up from everybody's eyeballs fixed on me. They're all waiting for me to tweak more. I sit on my hands to stop them from shaking. Then I launch into the speech I've been rehearsing for the past few hours. Explaining OCD, obsessive compulsive disorder, to other patients. Like a mosquito bite. The obsession, for example, if I don't exercise enough, I'm lazy and slothful, which makes me worthless, is the bite. And it itches like a motherfucker. The scratching is the compulsion, the behavior that makes the itch feel better for a bit. For example, jumping as a form of exercise. But then the scratching reinforces the itch, and as soon as I stop, the only way to numb the itch is to scratch again. The more I scratch, the harder it itches, which makes me scratch even more, which intensifies the itch. So I scratch, until that's all I do for hours every day. Dr. Grant, my psychiatrist, calls it a positive feedback loop. The stain on the bricks is still there. Dried blood, a ketchup-colored splat, with drips tendriling to the floor. Creating it went surprisingly well. Excruciating, duh, but uninterrupted. I stayed as quiet as I could. Did it all in my room so no one saw. The only person who might have heard anything is Sweets, because our rooms share a wall. Good thing the cement absorbs the sound of my thuds. What sucked is that I was slow. So by bang 78, panic overflowed from my aching lungs, spilling out my throat, in whimpers and shrieks. Those she heard. She's complaining about them now to Nurse Sţwx at their nurse's station med dispensing counter while he monitors Franco. Sweets goes on. I don't know shit about OCD other than that each obsession is like an itchy mosquito bite or whatever. But I know pain when I hear it. Those weird animal noises she made were hella freaky. There's no way I'm getting shut-eye tonight unless I take my special chill pill. Hella freaky. Sounds about right. I make sure Sţwx and Sweets can't see me as they talk PRN dosage. That's fancy Latin for meds you take as needed. Kids can't access this room unless they get let in for medical reasons, like I've been. The ice pack freezing my fingers soothes my forehead, which throbs beneath a slathering of polysporin and a dressing of medical tape and gauze. What I really want is to cocoon myself in bed, lose consciousness for 8 hours until the morning, when I have to make a new stain all over again. I can't, though. Can't risk being seen like this by the other kids. Sweets is taking her meds, while Franco. Shit! Franco's walking toward the treatment room I'm in. Sţwx raises his voice. Hey, Franco, what do you want from there? I'd like to think he's looking out for me, but really, he's worried about patients making a mad dash for the meds. Water. I'm thirsty. Those are the first 3 words I've heard from Franco all day. Me too, says Sweets. You never fill the cups enough. There's barely time to glare at the giant Canadian Springs dispenser before I have to dash out of my position or risk getting squished by the door. That was the first excerpt. And now the second excerpt is from when a relative of Mira's, her maternal grandpa, is at the hospital and she's visiting him for the first time in years. Mom's taken me on a special request pass to see Gong Gong. He's dying. Gong Gong is 83, and this is his second heart failure. I could try and puzzle out the meaning behind that number. Why, even though it's odd, the way all of my ritual reps are, it's probably the worst and last year of his life. But I'm too tired to procrastinate with what Dr. Grant calls magic numbers. Obsessive compulsive disorder doesn't get to take center stage. Besides, I'm so numb I can't be anxious. Jumping in the hospital bathroom a few minutes ago, the magic of numbers felt realer than the thought of Gong Gong getting discharged from existence. Then I see him. He's propped up by pillows and swaddled in blankets on his hospital bed. 10 hanging over his scalp. Tubes are everywhere, around and inside him like he's hooked into the matrix. It's these tubes that do me in, have me in tears as soon as I walk through the door. I know firsthand how much IVs and feeding tubes suck. His ventilator isn't a full mask that suctions and obscures his face. Instead, I can almost see his lips through the mouthpiece and the medical tape strapped across his jaw. That just makes it worse, because I see enough of his expression to tell that just existing, the effort it takes, brings him so much pain. Hi, Dad. Mira and I are here to visit with you, Mom says in the soft, cheery tone she uses specifically for old or sick people. It's what I heard whenever I phoned her from UCLA neuropsych. an octave and a half lower than her tone for talking to cute animals or little kids. Gongong's cloudy eyes open wider, creasing as he smiles as much as he can through the mouthpiece. Antiseptic stings our nostrils, while harsh lights illuminate but don't warm us. A symphony of beeps and IV drips, with that hideous ventilator shunting as the base, carries on all as we smile back. I smile so hard that the tears still forming in my eyes squeeze out and fall down my face. Then Gong Gong raises his hand. He spreads it out toward us and pulls it in before letting it collapse back onto the bed. Come closer. We do. Mom goes to his left, and I go to his right. Crouched down low, close enough to smell his putrid sweat. I clench my jaw as my lips quiver in their upward curve. Then lower, so our eyes are level, and I can see the story on every line of his face. My stinging eyes close as I press a kiss onto his cheek. Wet, salty. He's crying too. He cranes toward me, fighting against the tube that breathes for him to kiss me back. The Gong Gong in my heart is a quiet but vibrant man who holds his broad shoulders proudly square. He has most of his thick salt and pepper hair and walks with purpose. A lot of my childhood's happiest moments are with, for, and because of him. I can't write them all down, but here are my top 9. Breakfast oatmeal races. Who could cram the most steaming cream of wheat into their mouth first? Him picking me up from school in his white camper van, parking at McDonald's and handing me a toonie for half vanilla, half chocolate twist cones. Our trip to Harrison Hot Springs, where I slept in that big van's built-in bed. Eating a tomato slice for the first time when we went out for burgers with war vet Uncle Fred. Both he and Gong Gong had eaten banana peels as kids when there was nothing else. So I didn't want to let them down. Visiting a bunch of other uncles and aunties around Lunar New Year, and how they pressed lychee into my hands. My favorite envelope, ornamented with 2 graceful, rainbow-feathered wong wong, tails curling into a cloud. The way he beamed when I beamed, as soon as he opened the front door, back from a trip to Nanaimo. Returning from one trip, he'd held a white poodle stuffy with red bows on her ears in the crook of his elbow. Guess what I got for you, Mira? Sounding out the words of his tiny printing before I could read well on my own. He'd used a multicolored pen to spell out each color with its match in ink. Red, black, blue, and green. The back and forth game of parroting his sounds. Yet, ye, song, say, lo, chat, ba, gal, sa. Until Gong Gong had taught me how to count from 1 to 10 in Cantonese. And number 9 for gal. How thrilled Hopwa was on those rarest of times when he would say mealtime grace. I don't know what I'll spill to Sweets or Nick, only that they'll make it better. I yell at Sweets through her door above the stereo blasting death metal to meet me outside. Nick, I find chain smoking on Ward 1's porch. One look at me in all my post-weeping glory, and he says, "We're climbing the Buddha." Is that slang for some sort of sex thing? Excuse me? Sweets is on her way. Even better. What the fuck? What does climbing the Buddha even mean? My gong gong. And then the waterworks switch back on. My eyes become leaking faucets. My lips press against each other, holding in a moan. Just walk with me. It's not what you think. Nick grabs my hand with both of his and squeezes it. The goosebumps I always get when we're close to each other. That heady rush. Slip through my cry circuit and reroute my reflexes. I'm still sad, but now I'm walking with him as he leads me toward the school building. I'm waving at Sweets as she heads down the Ward 2 steps to catch up with us. She has her damn stereo with her and holds it balanced on her shoulders like an 80s homie instead of a hardcore goth. I tell them the whole gong gong story as we walk through the courtyard in between the math and English classrooms to the garden area, where a Buddha statue sits at the foot of a Japanese maple tree. See? Buddha. We don't really climb him. Pretty sure that would be sacrilegious. We climb the tree behind him, then jump up for a bird's eye view of Crazy Camp. Everything feels smaller in a good way from up high. At home, I head to the woods. Here, I head to the roof. Whatever's bugging me loses its bite when I see the forest and the mountains past the high rises. Maybe it'll be like that for you too. And music. Everything's better with the right kind of music. Sweets brandishes her stereo. How about a rooftop dance party? Your gong gong won dance competitions and stuff, right? Let's tear it up for him. You need a boost up? Nick asks, setting the stereo on the ground. Too late. I'm already crouching, then standing on the branch closest to the roof. It's the easiest thing to fly for one step. I'm surprised by the springiness of the asphalt roof shingles when I land next to Sweets. Nick's up a moment later, and we set off to explore the residency, Adolescent Treatment Center's rooftops. The school building is connected to the rec building by a skinny corridor of offices. Only staff are allowed to access the corridor, but we stroll above it, taking in the dusk. The orange and red of sunset lines wispy clouds I can almost touch. Fights against its fading to a blue darker than Nick's eyes. I know it's cheesy, but they're the color of a storm at sea. Sneaking glances at them instead of watching my footing makes me stumble. We're on the gym roof now, though, so even if I fell, it wouldn't be off the ledge to my fucking death. Nick puts the stereo down in the center of the roof, and Sweets fiddles with the FM dial, switching from the Fox 99.3's mosh pit music to the Beat 94.5, which plays the hip-hop you hear at clubs. You're welcome, kiddos, she says, wiggling her eyebrows. Let's see you drop it like it's hot. Nick laughs, and I groan. We kind of just shuffle side to side and bob our heads at the beginning. I'm trying to find the beat and remember the moves Chelsea taught me, mostly different ways of emphasizing your boobs or your butt. Then Promiscuous comes on. That's my song. I'm feeling it, channeling the playful sexiness of the music and the words, and bend my ass close to Nick's hands, something I've never done before. Lean into him so his warm breath pricks up the hairs on the back of my neck and my arms. His nearness makes me shiver as we hold each other and move together in this new, good way. Is this what grinding is? Are we grinding? A few seconds later, and Sweets caves. She's dancing too. All her moves are goofy shit, like big fish, little fish, cardboard box, the shopping cart, and the funky chicken. I do my dorkiest disco arms, and Nick pulls out the YMCA. My abs are getting a workout from how much I'm laughing. The chill in the darkening air refreshes my lungs and skin. We get a double dose of Nelly Furtado When All Good Things Come to an End plays. The sad, slow guitar strumming gives us the chance to take a breather. I wish I were Nellie Furtado, I say between pants. She's freaking gorgeous and talented. Nick steps closer to me, hunches a little so we're face to face. Forget her. I'm all about that sexy backup dancer on the roof. I'll never get used to his outrageous compliments. I never want to. I put my arms around his neck, where they slide a little against his sweat. He puts his arms around my waist and grazes his fingertips just a little lower than my hip. Because I only went to half a year of high school, I didn't make it to any dances. I'm glad of that now instead of sad. The sky, so close above me, and an audience of one beats a crappy, crowded gym any day. I rest my cheek against Nick's chest, my cheekbone on his collarbone, his heartbeat a steady pounding in my ear that I match my breathing to. Please, please be wrong, Nellie. Please don't let this end. And that was the second excerpt. So what I just read are two excerpts from A Drop in the Ocean, and that is my debut autofiction novel that just came out in May. It's the first book I've ever written and published, and I basically wrote it based on the 6 years I spent in inpatient treatment as a teen for obsessive compulsive disorder and comorbid disorders. And at the time, what I did a lot to cope was journal write. And so I would not share any of those old journals with a single soul, but I did use them as inspiration. And that is what I kind of based the book on. Yeah. And so like a lot of the characters are based on like actual folks, but everything, all the names have been changed, and some of the characters are also composites, like based on more than one person. And most of the events happened, but I did try to fictionalize things because I can't, remember conversations I had 20 years ago, or even like the things that kind of really make prose come to life, which are like concrete sensory details, like the way something smelled, the kind of texture of like a wall, all those things I kind of had to reimagine. So yeah, that was just like two little snippets from A Drop in the Ocean.